I went into family court looking for help. That was it. One little thing. That's what they said. I went in there looking for help with one little thing. And it snowballed into some big thing that my life will never go back to the way it was. That's what they said.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were relying on the family court to answer a question or some issue that came up. And prior to that, were you separated and did you have custody?
I had been divorced since about 2012.
Okay.
And I had primary physical custody and he had reasonable visitation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And so you went in, was this related to your daughter's mental health?
She had a lot of anxiety around visiting with her father. At the time she was 10 years old. She wasn't an agreeable 3-year-old anymore. And I think she had questions like maybe this isn't, I'm not comfortable with this behavior. I'm not comfortable with things, she wasn't an agreeable 3-year-old anymore. So
right.
She had a lot of anxiety. Her extended day at the time gave me a call. They had noticed that she was starting to isolate herself from her friends and she was expressing some self-harm. And so they had called me and they said in the 6 years that they'd known her, they'd never seen her like this. And they had pulled her aside. And the only thing that she said was, do I have to see my dad? So they had filed a 51A. And then I retained an attorney. I got a restraining order on her behalf. And then there was 2 weeks later, there's a hearing and I did it. I don't know. I just followed my attorney and I did it in district court. And then there was another hearing in district court and they kept the restraining order in place, but then it got moved to probate court. And I was just kind of hoping that he would get some parenting classes to make their relationship better.
Steph Roberts here, and so this episode is the one that I've been building up to and waiting for. This is my interview with Stephanie Pianades. She has this crazy story, which I know can be very triggering. I mentioned this with my last interview with Stacey Every, where she was talking about trauma and triggers and managing triggers. So I think it's really important that you ask yourself, are you in a place and a space to hear about a woman, a mom, a parent who had custody, had something come up with her daughter, and just truly wanted a very simple request with her ex-husband, and then that just the act of advocating for her daughter was completely turned around. And this is an example of parental alienation, family court abuse. It's also DARVO, which is deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender, right? So that's the switcheroo, where the offender claims that the victim is the abuser. And this is the most heart-wrenching story that I've shared. I've shared many people's stories, but I think this one's tough because it's still in play. It's happening in my state. Her name is Stephanie. She also goes by Steph. There's just something very, very personal about this. It's her daughter. I have 2 daughters. I've been through the same court system that she is a victim of, and it's very, very scary. And I've warned many people about this court system. And I just think that until you've seen it play out, unfortunately, the way that it has with her, you might not believe it. And so I want to share this episode in the most responsible way that I can, which is to say, ground yourself. If you feel like you want to know this information, take your deep breaths, feel good about where you are, and, be ready to walk away or take the earphones out, whatever, if you're listening to the podcast. This is also a video interview, so you can see Stephanie, you can see pictures of her daughter, and you can hear this crazy story of what has unfolded and is still unfolding, and the amount of money, time to reclaim her daughter who is still not with her. It's in the tens of thousands and beyond at this point. Just to spend time with her daughter, she has to pay for supervision, the gas, the distance of that person just to spend a couple of hours with her daughter. And it's not even regular visitation at this point. And this is it all stemmed from her daughter, the after school programming, saying, she's not behaving as she normally has. They knew her for years. She would say to them, do I have to see my dad? Do I have to see my dad? And you'll hear more details in this interview. And it's just how her mom advocating for her daughter's mental health, for better parenting on behalf of the father, like parenting classes, how that could get spun in this way where her daughter's taken away. She's literally in a mental health facility without the ability to contact her mom for 3 full months. 3 full months. Like, that's crazy. He was able to get this to happen. So this is a cautionary tale, and I really think if you've been through a custody battle, if you're on the other side, if you can manage to listen to this, and if you can follow Steph on Twitter, it's LC like Lucky Champ _ Steph, STEPH. If you can follow her on Twitter, where she's sharing some of what's going on. She has new attorneys, and they're letting her be more public about what's been happening to her, because she's really trying to create her own narrative, because if you've had attorneys, they don't really listen. They don't really understand narcissistic abuse and how things can unravel in the courtroom and things can come out of left field. And anyway, so she has an attorney who's allowing her to tweet and share the just ongoing just craziness that has happened in her case. And this is my 3rd time recording this intro. I will have the earlier intro just after this, because I actually interviewed her almost 3 months ago, and I wanted to be responsible. Again, as I said, I've had some health stuff. I'll get into that. It just involves brain, vision, fatigue, all kinds of stuff with me not being able to share things the way that I would and follow through. I'm glad I'm getting it out. She still is struggling, and I would love for you guys to support her. And if you have any stories that you want to share here in the comments, or contact me if you feel like you have something that would be positive for her or for anyone in the situation to know, something that worked for you, please do share it with me. And also, I have someone else who I will bring on who kind of represents the other side of this, which is somebody who went through something similar and then was able to get a judge, basically report corruption of a judge and have that judge removed. Anyway, and this is all happening in my state, which is a very liberal state, and people assume that it's one way when it's really exactly the opposite. Anyway, without further ado, thank you for watching. Please share this in groups that you're in, anywhere you can. I would just want to get enough around this actual problem, get it out there, and also get support for her. So please share this with people who you think can handle it. If they can do some advocacy, resharing, that kind of thing, just get this out. And obviously, if you find other stories about family court abuse, it's a real thing, and it affects both the parents and the children, and it has long-term detrimental effects and impacts, and it's just disgusting. It really is just, our children have rights, and their rights are being denied. And it's sickening. It really is. So thank you. Thank you for taking care of yourself. Thank you for thinking through whether you want to listen or not, or watch. And again, you can always come back later if it's too much, given where you're at in your life. And thank you if you're able to share and support her and this movement. And I will put some links in the show notes that I think relate to this and maybe can help you if you're in the situation, and or if you want to further try to get some advocacy, I can't even speak. If you want to help, I'll put some things in the show note. Thank you, and I appreciate you. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, sharing, and here we go. This is Stephanie Pianades and her real life parental alienation, DARVO, post-separation abuse, and family court abuse story. Thanks. Whew. Okay, guys, so I have an interview that I think will be unsettling for many, but this is the kind of stuff that I think needs to be out there. So it's not a fluffy episode. This one's pretty meaty. This one is about a couple of things that you need to be aware of if you're not already. Post separation abuse, meaning you've left your abuser and they're continuing to torment you, make your life hell, make the life of your child or children hell, and wrangle you financially, try to collapse whatever foundation that you have in place. And the other piece of this is how the family courts kind of collude and are catalysts and really participating in this abuse. They themselves are abusive. And so this is not something that any of us want to admit is even a thing or even possible, because we want to believe that the family courts have our backs or have the backs and the livelihood of our children. But that's just not always the case. And in the state that I live in, Massachusetts, there have been a number of challenges here related to the family courts. This is all over the place. It's not just in my state, but I'm bringing this up and I'm hoping to bring in another guest to show you the flip side of this, which is, just some justice being served. Now, I have told friends about this, friends, family, whatever, that this is something that happens, and they're like rolling their eyes like, that's ridiculous. You're being overly sensitive or hyper vigilant, whatever you want to call it. But it is a thing. And honestly, just listening to this is it just touched my heart. And I have so much empathy and anger around this particular case. And you'll see why, because you might be like, oh, well, what did this mom do? Which, by the way, that's sadly what happens, is that people always question the mother. What did she do? Instead of questioning the father when the mother brings something up. And that's a whole other issue. There's so many issues tangled and wrapped in this case that we need to deal with as a society. So I just am bringing this to you. It could be very triggering for some, but I would rather share this with you and shine the light on it and use this platform as an awareness tool than, coddle you or protect you from the fact that this can happen. I would rather have you be armed with, this is a possibility. What can I do to protect myself? What's the smartest move for me given this particular scenario? And you have to make not so great decisions sometimes, because this is a possibility. And I don't have all the answers, but I'm just raising awareness here. And there's more that I want to do to help Stephanie. She is my guest. And so without further ado, I'm going to jump into a conversation. We were already talking and I just started recording, and it will all make sense to you with what I've just described. Go ahead.
Okay, so they when they discharged her to the brother, and they sent her to go live with the brother who wasn't the custodian, across out of jurisdiction, across state lines.
And he was squatting at a house in Windham, New Hampshire?
Yeah, so he had, I guess, he was involved in some kind of Ponzi scheme, and he owned, according to the documents in New Hampshire, the state was making him pay restitution to his victims. So it was a bank-owned property. It wasn't in very good shape. The brother told the hospital that, oh yeah, we'll lock up all the sharps and we'll put video cameras in and locks to prevent eloping. But he didn't own the property and he was waiting to just get removed. So, and she wasn't living with a custodian or a guardian.
11. She's 11.
Yep. And she stayed in a room. She was subjected to a lot of emotional abuse by the brother.
Oh my gosh.
And it was hard to get any kind of, where is she? What's going on? They give him all the power. So,
in New Hampshire is where a young toddler was just lost in the system.
yeah.
So knowing that, they've just been in the news a lot. So that's even more disturbing, is that, not that our DCF system is great either, but to know that your child is in another state where there's this casual approach to tracking children and not really having their welfare in mind, right? I mean,
I also think there's a lack of communication. So for all the medical documentation that read, and they did it multiple times during her stay, consulted with risk management, why they just let her go. Like they didn't reach out to, hey, this girl's coming into New Hampshire.
Right. Like there's so many levels of head scratching. And so do you think any of this would have been possible if we weren't under these pandemic conditions where the courts are backed up and distracted and
I don't know.
yeah.
I think maybe if the court wasn't closed, they wouldn't have been able to move her out of jurisdiction. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like all these red flags. Like, if she's doing well, and like, why is she not living with her custodian?
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of holes in this. So let's back up because I started recording while you were talking because I wasn't sure what you were sharing. You wanted to share with,
That's okay.
everybody. But so I found your case and you on Twitter under, related to family court issues, how messed up the family courts are. In your case, your daughter, I'll let you share, but I mean, basically the gist of it is that she had some anxiety and other things, and I'll let you get into the details, but she was put into a mental health facility.
Yep.
And is it 3 days that they can normally stay? Not a very long stay, right?
Right. Yeah. So the average child stays 3 days before they're discharged.
And she's been in one facility. She was there for 3 months.
Yes.
Unbelievable. So no contact with you. And then we'll talk about how you and this is what really got me, Stephanie. Do you go by Stephanie or Steph?
Steph usually, but yeah,
I'm
okay.
Steph too. So it says we both say Stephanie, but we're Steph. So I was the part where you said, I saw a clip of your testimony saying that you work with children every day. Is it occupational therapy?
Yes.
So people entrust their children to you every day. You're working with children, you're trustworthy, upstanding citizen.
Yes.
And your own child was able to be taken away from you and kept from you. And then he did a bunch of other things that I further isolated her under that lockdown. It's just, the whole thing is just so heartbreaking. And I'm reluctant to share stories like this because I know it scares the crap out of mothers. But I think that the time has come, like we need to know this is happening so that you don't walk into a trap and get into a worse situation or one that you just were completely unprepared for. So like if this is triggering to anybody watching, come back later. But this is really important to know that this does happen. And I will try to balance this with a happier story for sure. Yeah. So go ahead, Steph, just, share what you feel comfortable.
I mean, so I had an attorney explain it to me recently that I went into family court looking for help. That was it. One little thing. That's what they said. I went in there looking for help with one little thing. And it snowballed into some big thing that my life will never go back to the way it was. That's what they said.
Wow. So you were relying on the family court to answer a question or some issue that came up. And prior to that, were you separated and did you have custody?
I had been divorced since about 2012.
Okay.
And I had primary physical custody and he had reasonable visitation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And so you went in, was this related to your daughter's mental health?
She had a lot of anxiety around visiting with her father. At the time she was 10 years old, she wasn't an agreeable 3-year-old anymore. And I think she had questions like maybe this isn't, I'm not comfortable with this behavior, I'm not comfortable with things, or, I mean, she wasn't an agreeable 3-year-old anymore. So
right.
She had a lot of anxiety. Her extended day at the time gave me a call. They had noticed that she was starting to isolate herself from her friends and she was expressing some self-harm. And so they had called me and they said in the 6 years that they'd known her, they'd never seen her like this. And they had pulled her aside. And the only thing that she said was, do I have to see my dad? So they had filed a 51A. And then I retained an attorney. I got a restraining order on her behalf. And then there was 2 weeks later, there's a hearing, and I did it. I don't know. I just followed my attorney and I did it in district court. And then there was another hearing in district court, and they kept the restraining order in place, but then it got moved to probate court. And I was just kind of hoping that he would get some parenting classes to like make their relationship better.
Right.
Like,
Right. Really
like
basic.
I'd never, I mean, she'd always gone with him willingly. And I just kind of, she saw him on Wednesdays dinner visits and every other weekend. And I would just kind of hope that like she'd be more comfortable going. And that's kind of all I was hoping for.
Wow. Like that's just so basic. So how did that turn into this nightmare that you're in right now?
A GAL was agreed upon in a joint stip, which and that's the thing I've learned so much about probate court.
Yeah.
Your constitutional rights don't really matter, neither do facts. So they had there was a joint stip and then the judge's charge was it was a limited investigation. And in Massachusetts, there are category E and category F investigations. One allows for a clinician to make clinical observations. The other one is just a lawyer, it's just a fact finder. They just report on the documents that they've collected. They can't make any kind of parenting recommendations or, so ours was a limited, it was an attorney that was recommended to my then attorney at the time by his attorney. And so the judge's charge was just to investigate.
It was recommended by your
my ex's attorney.
Okay. I'm like, wait, okay.
So, and my attorney agreed, didn't know her. She wasn't on the judge's list. She was charged with investigating the child's allegations against the father. She didn't even call the extended day. She didn't look up the restraining order. She didn't call the extended day. If you read the GAL report, it reads like he wrote it himself.
Wow.
He's an attorney. It reads like, I am the kitchen sink of mental health codes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild. And then it wasn't what the judge ordered. It wasn't her charge. It was like salacious enough that the judge said she'd allow it.
Wow. The underhandedness of what is allowed in these courts is just mind-boggling.
Yes.
It's mind-boggling.
We go in for statuses and they just blurt out whatever they want and they don't need any documentation. At one point last year, my mom, after some troubling police reports, my mom had filed for temporary guardianship, and her attorney had said to the judge that they keep coming in here and saying that the child is okay, but we get these police reports and they don't provide any documentation about anything about her being okay. And that just kind of, no one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then were you able to convince your attorneys to get any documentation in your defense, like from the aftercare or any of that stuff? Or do they just not allow that positive, like evidence, I guess, of what's really going on?
Towards the end of that GAL investigation, it was like, we had a GAL during our divorce in 2012 and nothing about this investigation felt right. It felt really not right. And so I had rehired my divorce attorney, and over the past 2 years, we've collected almost all the medical records. It's over 500 pages. We've collected medication mismanagement, which we brought in front of the judge, and she didn't act on it. Everything. The court file is just so huge, and I don't know, like nothing's really, those police reports that my mom had submitted for temporary guardianship, they're pretty troubling, and nothing.
So the police reports are police reports that came from your mother related to the mistreatment of your daughter, or was it him trying to say your mother?
No, they were, I had provided her with police reports of him mistreating her.
Okay.
And some of that writing is probably the best documentation of his character that I've ever read. For the female police officer, he wouldn't get off the couch. He pretty much mocked my daughter, mocked me. An EMT had called that officer because my daughter was sent to a hospital after this interaction. And I guess the EMT had called the officer and said that they were concerned about his behavior as well. They wrote a 51A based on their report, and that was screened out.
And so how do those police reports how are they not introduced to the court? And how does the judge not see them? Like, how is that even?
She read them. She saw them on the day that my mom appeared for her petition for temporary guardianship. And then the judge just kept delaying the next date and delaying the next date until my mom finally withdrew, because it got to a point where my daughter started to parrot him. So like through our marriage, and our post-separation, in order to get things he wanted, he would say, you won't do this for me, or you won't give me this because you hate me more than you love your own daughter. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Like, so that's how he would manipulate me. And now she's saying my mother hates me more than my mother hates my father more than she loves me.
Wow.
So
does she know you're fighting for her, that you're putting like your own reputation on the line? And
I don't know what he has her pretty isolated. He's completely erased the maternal family, and she's really close with my mom. He doesn't allow, I think she has social media accounts, and he doesn't allow requests from like my hairdresser who used to cut her hair, or like anybody
related to you in any way. Jesus. So what is his position in life? Is he a very powerful person, or is he just a regular guy? Like, is he really well connected? That's what I'm getting at.
I don't know. He's a real estate attorney. I don't know what his connections are with everybody. I know that the GAL basically the real estate attorney that basically diagnosed me in her report. I mean, I don't know if they're both in the same realm.
A real estate attorney diagnosed you? So that person who was allowed, is that the person who was allowed to be the GAL?
She was the GAL, and she was not allowed to make any custody recommendations. She was not allowed to, she was just a fact finder, but she wrote this salacious report. I mean, as a result of that report, I had to pay for 2 psych evals, one for him and one for myself. I think they were $3,500 a piece. I didn't have a diagnosis. The doctor who performed the psych eval said, they're trying to make you look crazy, but I don't see it.
Wow. And what was his assessment? He
basically said he was a narcissist without giving him the diagnosis. He only participates and he only engages in situations where he can elicit a certain level of control. On standardized testing, he had clinically significant outward expressions of anger.
Okay.
The doctor wrote in his report that if this parenting plan stays the way it is, that it will have severe behavioral consequences for our daughter.
And so what happened to that information?
At a status in July of 2020, the judge had said that she read them, and then she asked what we were doing like how we were being proactive as a result of these reports. And I have been seeing the same therapist since those reports. And his attorney said that they acknowledge that he has anger issues and he will seek treatment, and he never sought treatment, and he was never followed up on.
And there was no clause in from your attorney's side that forced him to go get anger management or anything like that?
And there's nothing on their side that forces me to do it either, but I do it.
Right. Yeah. Wow. And so where are you now? You have a heering tomorrow.
Yes, I have a status. It's when they're gonna just whatever they're going to submit for trial, the evidence and the witnesses and all that's going to be agreed upon. He also has an amendment before the court where he's looking to amend our modification. He's looking for sole custody, that my visitation be terminated, that he claims her on his taxes every year, Oh, that I pay whatever he requests in a timely fashion, kind of like whatever extracurriculars she does, like no cap, just set a paper half of it in a timely fashion, even if I don't have it. He aggressively pursued child support once he got this temporary order. He's called and had my wages garnished.
Wow.
He also, like, there's also this financial abuse that he does where we have to split the cost of braces 50-50, but he holds on to braces invoices, and then he'll submit like 3 at a time within 30 days and say that I'm not reimbursing him within 30 days, and he'll file a contempt so I can pay his attorney's fees.
Wow.
Yeah. Because there's nothing written that says that he has to submit any invoices within 7 days of them being issued or anything.
Can you proactively call the dental people and pay them? Like, so that kind of stuff doesn't happen. I mean, obviously you wouldn't think that he would do that, but now that you're kind of onto him.
I know now that I know.
Yeah, his tricks and his, yeah.
So I think I can, because this was the most recent thing. I did post audio from December, our December hearing. It was an evidentiary hearing where he wanted me to paper his trip to Florida.
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah.
Wow. And so did you come out of that? Like, he didn't get what he wanted. It sounded like it was on your side, because it sounded
Yeah.
like what he was doing was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like there was a cap and he was admitting that he was over the cap anyway with the total, and
Yep.
like way over. And yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I have so many questions, but I don't even
Yeah,
know.
go ahead.
No, I mean, the whole thing is just like, I'm gobsmacked that this is even possible. And at the same time, I'm not at all. Like when I left my situation, I wrote, I was told I had to get a restraining order. And I knew that was poking the bear, right? And I was just happy that I had my kids, happy that they were safe and that we were out. I fled.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, oh, because the school saw my daughter, like I have never really shared it on here, so I don't want to get into the details. But anyway, the school is a mandatory reporter. So of course, Department of Children Services gets involved, and then they're like, you need to get a restraining order or you look negligent. And it was like, that's going to make things worse, right? And then so I had to go write it. And when you write your request, it goes before the judge, and the judge can ask you questions or not. This judge didn't even ask any questions. I mean, it was so clear. And she gave it to me. And then I went thinking, I'm going to go before this judge. Well, they had the judge switched. It was scratched out and switched to a male judge who was the mentor of his attorney, whom I had never met and who was not at this first meeting. But I was under the gun, quickly had to find an attorney who was available on that date, on that time, and who knew all the stuff that we know we need to know now. Of course, I didn't know I need to know all of it, because again, I fled. I was not prepared, and I had probably made 20, 25 phone calls, and I had a toddler and a 6-year-old, and I wasn't supposed to mention court or any of this in front of them, but they were with me. And my friend had like horrible Wi-Fi. So I was like in my car trying to find attorneys, getting referral from referral. My attorney ended up being like 3 hours late. It was a horrible way to start the whole thing. And I ended up switching that attorney immediately. But I had 3 altogether. And I probably would have had a 4th if they weren't like, you're going to look crazy if you get a 4th person. But nobody was equipped to handle the underhanded things that went down in court. Even though I would say this is going to happen, they just wouldn't listen. So you need to have an attorney who understands family court, narcissistic abuse, coercion, control, all that stuff. And if you don't find the right attorney, they're not going to be able to, circumvent, think ahead, do the, their brain will accept what you're saying at least and know to do something.
I'm on my 4th attorney.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're not crazy, but I was like, yeah, I need another attorney. Yeah.
I think I took a few attorneys that were saying that why wasn't this done, or they didn't do enough for me to, because I don't know, I guess I got comfortable and I just listened and did what I was told. And
it's hard because you don't know what you don't know.
But it was like 2 years, and he'd just been allowed to slander me. And people are like, well, she must have done something bad if she can't even see her children. So, well, my child, but
Right.
I get, do you have an underlying alcohol problem or a drug problem? Did you try to murder your child? Like, no,
Yeah. How did this happen?
nothing.
Yeah.
And then, so I started to post on social media and started to share my story. And I joined a couple of Facebook groups. And I remember there was this, last fall, there was this big charge for a judge, and there was a bill in front of the Joint Committee on the Judiciary. And I knew a bunch of parents were going to be testifying about their experience in family court. So I was like, seeing as I go in front of my judge every time for 2 years, and I'm never allowed to speak. And I feel like the opposite side just does whatever they want, and we just stand there and take it. This would be my opportunity to show my credibility, my opportunity to speak. So the night before, I just sat down and I only had 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So I sat down and I wrote a timeline, what happened. And it was hard too, because it's like, you have to like, we kind of almost relive that trauma. And
oh my gosh, it's heart-wrenching every time.
I just, when they called my name to give my testimony, I just, my paper in front of me, I just sat there and I just read it. What happened?
Is that the thing that I saw on Twitter? Okay, yeah, that's really good. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes so people can follow you and support you and
thank you.
cheer you on. Oh my gosh.
But hearing from parents' stories, it was really, really, it was hard. It was sad.
Yeah.
Attorneys would get mad and say, you can't post on social media. My ex's big thing tomorrow is going to be that my social media posts are disparaging to him, but I don't believe they are. I'm not name calling, or I'm just telling my story.
You
I
are,
feel like
yeah.
it should be heard. It hasn't been heard, and
right.
Yeah. So
this is totally off. This is me wondering, and you may not know the answer to this, but do you feel like in our state, some of the judges can be bought? Like it just feels like that's the only way this could ever happen. It's because how can these judges be or are they child haters? I mean,
yeah.
Right? Like it doesn't add up. These are the people we're entrusting our children to, and we're like, they're going to see what's wrong. They're going to know the welfare of my children. Our child or children is in the balance here, and they're going to see this, especially when it's so clear, like a police report and all that stuff. Like what is your thinking, I guess? And I don't want you to sink your own ship. You have to go to court. So
I just don't know how it's filtered, because I've spent a lot of money. There have been 3 GALs. The last GAL I was made to pay for by myself. His attorney yelled out, "She has a trust." I don't have a trust. That would be public record. I mean, they've subpoenaed my check. I have one checking account. They subpoenaed my checking account twice. So my abuser gets to look at where I've ate, what I've bought, how I've lived my life for like the past 5 years or something.
So you're being re-abused in court.
I'm sorry?
You're being re-abused in court.
Yeah.
It's definitely clear.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were divorced in 2012, and we didn't go back in there until 2018. So for 6 years, I mean, I didn't bother him. I never brought him in there for modifications or contempts or any of that. He's, in the past 2 years since he's gotten this temporary order, I've been in there 6 times, I think, where he's asked for money.
And he's a real estate agent?
A real estate attorney.
So he has good money, I assume.
I'd assume so, but according to his, because I mean, those financial documents are self-reported. He claims that he grosses $50,000 a year, which would probably make him the least successful attorney in the state of Massachusetts.
Right.
Wow. And I work for Massachusetts public schools, so.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That just seems bizarre to me that he's going after you for, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, the money that I spent over $50,000 in supervised visitation. I just don't know how the money is filtered. But I mean, there's a lot of money being put towards the whole process. So,
right.
Yeah.
And wait a minute. So I'm just adding this up. So you left him when your daughter was a baby. She was only a year old or less when you divorced?
Yeah.
And so for years, she's been going back and forth, back and forth. And then this whole thing with her anxiety and not wanting to see him was really the catalyst, the trigger that pulled you back in. And then all like this whole thing turned upside down. And your child has become this pawn, and this man is using to re-abuse or continue abusing both of you, really.
She did cheerleading since she was like 5 years old. It was a really nice like team sport for her, and she really loved it. And he pulled her out this year, and he's put her in hockey because that's his thing. And he said she doesn't want to do cheer anymore. She loves hockey. She's 13.
Those couldn't be more opposite. Like,
I know. Yeah. Yep.
did she even skate before this?
Yeah.
Did she go to hockey games with him, or?
Oh yeah, he's a season Bruins holder. He's got tickets behind the box. So I think she wants some. Actually, he didn't exercise his Wednesday night dinner visits if there was a Bruins game. So she didn't go.
There's a priority.
So
Wow.
yeah, or sometimes he would drop her off early on the weekends if there was a game.
Yeah. Which was fine for you because you probably just were happy to get her back. And
Yeah.
wow. And if she really loved it, she'd be like, no, Dad, let me stay.
Or like wouldn't, or
He could bring her.
he could bring her.
Did he ever bring her to any of the games?
So during that real estate attorney GAL was deposed, and my attorney made it known that to her that he had brought her to 0 of the Bruins playoff games, and she kind of just put her head down. But after that, because he knew he was being watched, he started to bring her to games.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And then they know, oh, that's the right thing to do. I guess I should do it.
He's always on his like so during the last GAL investigation, when she was, it's very obvious that she was coached and that she's very scared because the GAL did report that she fidgets in his care, like in his presence, she's constantly fidgeting, that her walls of her bedroom are covered in illustrations that she's done of eyes because he's always watching her. But she's like, she reported to the GAL, things are great. My dad takes me shopping. He took her shopping once for the GAL investigation. And that was also what that real estate attorney GAL had told him to do as well.
Before that, was he somebody would take her shopping for what she wanted?
No, and it's funny because my parents live in Rhode Island and they're divorced and they're amicably divorced, and they would drive 45 minutes to attend. My daughter had indoor field hockey games this winter, and they would drive 45 minutes just to see her and hope to like wave to her or her wave back, or maybe get a hug when she comes off the field, anything. And she could never be without arm's length from him, like never be away from him. Like, cause the big thing was like, don't get daddy in trouble. Don't. So
okay.
There was one game, just my mom had gone, and he let her go off and talk to my mom alone. And at the time, and what he had my daughter do was ask her for clothes. She was like, Mimi, I need clothes.
Oh.
And my mom's like, I don't know who you are anymore, Talia. You're 13. I don't know what you like. I don't know. And she's like, I'm still me. And I guess she starts to like well up with tears. And she's like, I need clothes. I don't have any clothes.
Oh my gosh. And so are you allowed to see her at all?
Supervised, but paid supervision, because it has to be agreed upon. The supervisor has to be agreed upon by him, and he only agrees to paid supervisors.
And how much time do you get when you're with that paid supervisor?
It depends. So I had asked the paid supervisor if I could have 3 hours every 2 weeks, because she does charge mileage, and it's $75 for the mileage, and it's also $75 an hour. So I asked if I could do 3 hours every 2 weeks, but because there had been such a big break, I hadn't seen her since July 22nd was my last visit with her, and then I didn't see her again until January because I just didn't have the money for visits. I spent over $50,000 on supervised visitation.
Right.
The first supervisor I had, she charged $125 an hour.
What?
And one time she told me that it's going to look bad for me in court if I don't pay for more time with my daughter. I'm like, I don't have any more money, and you ask for a $2,000 retainer at the start of every month. So
wait, a $2,000 retainer for the supervised person.
yeah, the first supervisor, she asked for a $2,000 retainer at the start of every month.
And then $75 to $125 an hour for that person while you're there, plus $75 for gas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most people couldn't afford to see their kid.
No.
And why is it supervised if you're not violent? And you're like, what? How did that get approved?
I've been told that you have to, the court has to provide like what the danger is to the supervisor, but the supervisors have never been provided anything. So my new attorney asked where that document was, and I said there's never been one. So my new attorney's kind of surprised by that too. Like, where is the?
So is your attorney gonna? I mean,
yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with their filed amendment, but. In December, my previous attorney had filed a motion to have me released from supervised visitation. Mm-hmm. Said that she is an occupational therapist in an ex-school district, and you know, we have 3 favorable supervised visitation reports that we presented to this court over 2 years, and it was dismissed without prejudice. So I don't know, and I think that I don't know. I don't think it'll get released again. I've had to put ring cameras.
Dismiss without prejudice. That means
I can file it again. I can file it.
Just wasting your time. Like there's no. I mean, obviously you can keep just submitting it, I guess, but
yeah,
to have no reason and to just keep going through the motions is ridiculous. As your child is like, yeah, and of course this kid is going to start believing that you're not caring if she's, you know, does she know that you have to pay all this money just to see her for an hour? I mean,
I don't
probably doesn't.
I don't think she knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, she might know now because now I've been more public about it, but she didn't know then.
Wow.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. I mean, it's just breaking my heart.
I've had to put ring cameras in every room that we go into, and she's not allowed to visit her bedroom, so she hasn't seen her bedroom. And I'm actually in her bedroom right now, and it actually in here has the bed that when we were in court in, I think it was in December, they told the judge that one time they dropped her off for visitation, and I had thrown her bed out onto the sidewalk, and it wasn't something for the child to see.
What? Did you buy a new one and the old one was out there?
No, it's still here. And I don't have curbside pickup either. We're at the town I live in, but
so they just made that up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And
wait, who made that up? That was the GAL?
No, that was his side. They wrote it in their pretrial memo that I had tossed her bed out onto the side of the road because she had told this latest GAL that she wants to keep things the way they are, and she doesn't want to see her mother without a supervisor anymore.
Wow.
And
maybe she's protecting you in a way, though, by saying that.
Yeah, I don't like just, yeah.
Because if you don't, I know that sounds weird, but maybe she knows how bad he really is, and she knows that you could be accused of all kinds of things.
So that's why I put ring cameras in it. She hasn't seen her bedroom in 2 years.
Yeah.
But I put ring cameras in every room because every time they say, well, she can't be released for supervised visitation because she's passing notes during her visits or she's doing this. And so I finally just put ring cameras.
Wow.
Every room.
Oh my gosh.
Which is even more oppressing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now he's watching you, right?
Yeah.
Like brother's watching everybody. Mm-hmm. You have no real
autonomy or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. How are you holding up? I mean, how are you even
It's really hard. So when it first happened, I was like, I just know that I have to keep my mind busy and I just have to keep busy. So when lockdown happened, I did gig work from sun up to sundown when stores opened until they closed. Like I just kept my mind busy. Like I couldn't be at home. It was like living with a ghost. Like I could still hear her dancing in her bedroom so I did that. And I see my therapist once a week still. And I also added a doctor who specializes in PTSD.
Okay.
But it's very isolating because like there's a lot of shame carried with that order, and people stop talking to you or they don't want to get involved, and
Yeah.
like you have to live two lives. Like nobody that I work with really knows what's happening. Like they know that I'm going through a custody battle, but they don't know to what extent, unless they've Googled it. I don't know.
Right. Well, you're not gonna wear it on your sleeve. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said to you, if you don't even want to be on camera or whatever,
Yeah.
like I get it. I totally get it. Like you're fighting this battle and you want awareness, but I can also see where you would want a level of anonymity because you don't want this to come back in any way, or,
Yeah. But I just like my new attorney's like, just put your cards out on the table, put them all out. So there's no.
Yeah, good. I like this attorney. Is this a man or a woman? This new one?
Man.
Okay. We'll talk later after this is recorded. Yeah, well, that's good. So what is the hope for tomorrow and moving forward? Like, what is your next goal, your next benchmark, I guess? I mean, ultimately, having more access to your daughter and having some justice where what's happened, this manipulation, this coercion, this like misalignment of justice is exposed.
I know. I feel like I mean, I didn't believe it until I watched the Allen and Farrow documentary, how easy it was to paint a woman hysterical. And I think there's a danger in that, and that should change. I think that if they want to include behavioral health in their determinations, that for being such like woke behavioral health courtrooms, I believe that they should understand trauma, and they should know that it physically changes your brain. It's going to change the way you think. It's going to create maladaptive behaviors. Like these orders, they're going to change that person forever.
They'll change your daughter, you. I mean, the whole thing is just it's just more trauma, more layers of trauma. And my last episode was about how that trauma registers as a traumatic brain injury, and then your behavior, depression, suicidal ideation, inability to focus. I mean, the fact that you could work and do anything is like amazing to me, because I know that I've been impacted by other people, and it's really hard to even sometimes hold down a job when you're in a big court battle.
It is. And I was just like, I have to keep my mind busy. Like I can't stop to think about it. And then people are like, why don't you take some time off? I'm like, I can't. My job is what makes me credible.
Exactly. Right. No, I get it. It's almost true. Also, if you jump off that treadmill, you lose momentum, and that's where you sink into yourself. Right. And so to keep going is going to keep you going. And I get that. It's like inertia. Oh my gosh. What can we do to help you? If somebody's hearing the story, they're like, oh, is there anything we can do to help you? Prayer. I don't know if you're having a spiritual life at all. I'm a spiritual person. I sure as hell am going to be asking people to pray for you throughout this whole thing. I know that sounds,
I think, and if they're available and they want to come watch my trial, just the public, make it out, put it out there. Just I guess any kind of support that anybody's willing to provide, I'm happy to accept it.
Yeah, right. I know. Oh my gosh. And I was just going to say, do you have like a PayPal or something? But maybe that could work against you in court, because it could look like you're trying to profit.
I'm not so much trying to, I'm just
emotional
support, bring awareness. But that people believe in me, and that they've emotionally invested in my story, and they're going to come and watch. And this is what happens in it's wild to me what happens in family court. Like,
I still get sick to my stomach when I think about how I felt in family court. Because between the first day walking in, trying to get that restraining order, and then going back and like where I thought I would be versus what it really was just night and day, like feeling like, oh, they've got my back, my kid's back kind of thing. And it's like, no.
I feel
alternate universe.
Yep. I posted on Twitter what Trevor Noah had said recently, like the question.
I was just going to do something about that. I mean, so we're talking about Trevor Noah stating about how people questioned his mom when she was worried about certain things or brought up any of the abuse, instead of questioning her husband, who then eventually shot her in the head. She survived, right? And then Trevor talking about that impact too. I mean,
yeah, you have, as a woman, I think going into family court, you have like an uphill battle. Women are emotional. I think like the big like oh, bipolar, that I'm not, but like they'll like throw out something like that and be like, that sounds dangerous. Parental alienation, that sounds dangerous.
Yeah, it's almost like you're damned if you don't. If you feel too much, you could be histrionic, hysterical, bipolar, whatever. And then if you're too flat, then it's like you're this unemotional, uncaring person. Like, but you've got to keep your shit together to get through this.
I know. And like when these things happen, it's almost like you can't seek help, and you can't you can't say anything, because then they're like, she's hysterical. Look, she reacts when people don't agree with her, and
it's a trap.
Yeah. You just have to just kind of keep busy. And then, so that's kind of what I've done. I've just kept busy, and then I think eventually I just was like, I'm just going to tell my story.
Yeah. I mean, I think I try to live for silver linings. And I think your daughter's at that age. So my kids are 9 and 14. And I just feel like there's this piece of time and their daughters too, but I just feel like there's a time when kids are going through figuring out what their life really means. They're taking it all in, they're observing, and kids are so wise. And yes, maybe pliable, but she is being controlled, and she's being controlled. I mean, being deprived and controlled, and then the whole Stockholm syndrome where you're identifying with your abuser, like it's a classic case of that. And I think, the one thing that this is something where you will be able to help so many other people. And I believe she will come out of this. And I'm going to pray that I'm going to start crying, that this has a happy ending soon.
I'm just hoping to be her light, like in this dark time where she's suffering, that there's light here, and that this is a safe space, and he doesn't control this space. And
and he doesn't get to control everyone. And sadly, the fact that he was able to control the court, control the mental health scenario, all of that, and then the access to other human beings. But there is going to be a point where that is no longer a possibility. And so hopefully there's a part of her that knows that, and that she's kind of just doing the same thing you're doing, which is keeping busy, going through the motions and trying to just get through it. And I think, that whole emotional piece, I think kids have a protective layer where it's like she probably can't even allow herself to be close to you unless she's really truly with you, because it's so heartbreaking. So she
gave me, she came up behind me and she gave me a hug, and it was really big, and it meant a lot, and I wasn't expecting it. And
it's like fuel that, good. Oh my goodness. I'm more emotional than you. You're so strong. Holy cow, you are the strongest.
It's taken a while.
Yeah. But just the fact that you have to be strong, as you said, like you almost have to be beyond reproach putting cameras in your home. You probably never drink ever. You're like living this squeaky clean lifestyle, just trying to, get through it, right? Like almost like you're not truly living your life is on hold. So he's really holding all of you hostage.
Yeah.
Both of you,
It has. It's been a really long road, and yeah. Yeah, I can't date because I tried once and they were like, "You're a good mother, right?" Like, I think so. I hope so.
I mean, I wouldn't, I wouldn't, I don't think I would be able to even date. I mean, even though it would be nice to be able to distract yourself and have a good human being,
Yeah.
you never know how that person's going to be twisted into something ugly somehow either, right? Because this person has managed to take the most innocuous, positive things like caring for your child's mental health and twist it into this wildly just far-flung thing that you probably never ever would have imagined could happen.
I know they're always like, well, we don't want to release her from supervision because we're concerned about brainwashing, but she's never parroted me. She parrots him, but she's never parroted me. I've never.
Right. You're concerned about brainwashing because you're seeing it. It's already happened from his side, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So
wow. So she was in New Hampshire, or she is in New Hampshire. Where is she now?
she was now she's because they're back in school. She's back. He got an apartment in my town so that she could still attend this school.
Okay. And he's living there with her?
With her, yeah. It might have been better off if he had stayed at the apartment in the town that he was at, which is like a town over. She doesn't have her mother anymore. I was a Girl Scout troop leader to a lot of those girls. She's starting to develop indiscriminate relationships. Like all those solid friendships are kind of gone.
Yeah.
I think she's been through like 7 best friends in the last 2 years. She gets bullied. Girls say, at least we can see our mom. Like,
so, and if he was in the other school district,
they wouldn't have known
what was going on. Yeah. It would be less. Yeah. So it's almost like it's another way of him to abuse her, because she's this relentlessly clear, horrible scenario that kids are going to poke holes in and say nasty things. They have no idea how harmful their words are at this age. And
especially
what's actually, she's already been so, my gosh. And so is she seeing a therapist? Does she, like, what's her support through this?
She was on my health insurance, and then I forget what year it was now. It was 2020. I had asked for relief, I was paying for Cobra at the time, and child support and supervised visitation. So the relief that the judge issued me was to not pay her health insurance anymore. So he put her on Mass Health. And it's really hard to get a clinician for a child on Mass Health because it's a lot of more paperwork. So right now she's seeing like a student social worker. Not really. I don't know. I feel like
we'll talk after we stop recording. I have some thoughts about that based on my own experience. Wow. Well, I'm really glad that you did this, and I would love to do a follow-up with you, Steph, to see how you're doing, to give you support. And I know that there are movements, there are also other organizations that you may not be aware of that I would like to talk to you about. I need to look them up, or I would mention them right now. But I think that your case is just astonishing, heartbreaking, but also people need to know that this kind of stuff is happening all the time. All the time. And it's really sad. And what's really sad, and I retweeted some of what you wrote, because we live in a really liberal state. And I think people make all kinds of assumptions about how we're so for humanity and all this stuff. And it's like, where are our children's rights? Where are children are treated like pawns, also discarded. There's just a lot of underhanded, inhumane stuff going down here. And I feel like that duplicity of how we're perceived as a state and then what actually happens, it's night and day.
We had DCF involvement for approximately a year, and I think it was month 6. I had told my daughter that the caseworker, I said the caseworker's name, I said the caseworker said that they would like to get us reunification therapy because they're concerned about our relationship. And she didn't even know the caseworker's name. So I don't even know if she visited her.
Oh, wow.
And then I talked to someone who retired from DCF. That was like their entire career. And they said that they don't offer unification therapy. So I don't know. But I have the email that says that here's the paperwork. We'd like to put you on a wait list for unification therapy.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah. That's just bizarre. It's like positive on the one hand, because that sounds great. And then it's pie in the sky weird because she doesn't even know who that person is and it's not even a thing. That's yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, Steph. And
thank you for inviting me. It means a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to keep in touch, and I definitely will. I think I might be able to go to one of your court hearings.
That'd be nice.
And I'm going to show up with my news camera. So, I don't know, family court. Ugh, it's just awful.
Awful. And I've been to like a couple different districts now to support other moms and parents. And
oh, you have? Oh, good. I'm glad you're connecting with others. Yeah,
it's interesting. They're all awful, but like
in different ways. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Wow. All right. Well, we will do a follow-up, and this is a cautionary tale, and I'll put links in here about some of the other movements people might want to support now that they know that this is an actual thing with family court abuse and how moms and children are treated in the family courts. And then the post-separation abuse, which you were divorced for 8 years. It's been a decade now, whatever. And this happened. And it's really, really scary that this is even possible when you're really just trying to put your child's welfare in the forefront. It's just like nobody would imagine this unless they've been through it.
Yeah.
And they're cynical and jaded and their eyes are wide open, right?
Yep.
That's a different kind of woke, I think. But
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we're all gonna, everybody listening, watching to this, regardless of your religion, your spiritual beliefs, whatever, send good vibes, good thoughts, good prayers your way. We're gonna hold you in our thoughts, really, for like the best possible outcome for yourself and for your daughter. Yeah, because you are a warrior. You're amazing. Okay. I'm gonna end recording.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.